Sometimes it's hard to know when to leave a relationship, and people will make an appointment and come in and they'll talk to me and they'll say, what do you think I should do? And it's really, I can give them advisement about things to ask themselves, but it's really difficult when you ask someone if they think you should end your relationship because they're not in it. Even a licensed therapist like myself cannot tell you specifically, unless there's abuse, that you should end the relationship. However, I can tell you things to look for, things to ask yourself, to really reflect upon in deciding whether or not this is a relationship you have to end. Because unfortunately, a lot of people end a relationship for very good reasons, but then they fall back on it. They go back. The last thing they were supposed to do was make the plan final. And they said it was going to be final, but it wasn't. Something warned them, or some response their partner made pulled them back in. And then they ended up in the same situation, a different year, but the same situation. So this is the beginning of the year. Let's make a clean break now. And this is how you do it. And the first thing you should ask yourself, am I addicted to the love or the feeling of love I have with this person? Addiction is a really important component in romantic love. And the reason is because your brain, basically your brain chemistry is set up to almost form an addiction as strong as what you are to cocaine when you're with someone. And unfortunately, the more inconsistent that person is, if they say, well, I'll be there at 6, but they're there at 7, or they lead you on, let's go here, and then they never show up. The more inconsistencies like that, mixed with times when they are consistent, actually makes the addiction more likely. So if this person has not been consistent with you, has not followed what they said they would do, if they've given you any reasons to think that you are not a priority, but rather an option, then you may fall into this category. And that is not a good reason to stay with someone. That's a very good reason to break up with someone. Secondly, give yourself a break. A lot of times people are bored in their relationships. They're just bored. They know that this person is not going to give them the emotional depth they need, the spiritual depth they need, and they don't want to look outward for that. They want someone that they're partnered with who can give them those two things, because those two things are very important for the person to maintain their emotional connection and their sexual connection. If you feel like your partner is not able to give you the depth you need in your own soul, your heart, your intellectual ability to connect and love, then you must give yourself a break. That's still a good reason to break up with a person and not go back to them. Thirdly, lock yourself into a plan. If you just break up, like you're like, okay, that's it, we're over, I can guarantee you there's an 84% chance that it won't be over, that you will go back to them. So it's important that you do this methodically, that you make a plan. Tell at least one friend, this is the plan, and please encourage me and try to help me get through it. Because it's not only making the breakup that matters, it's staying consistent with the plan after the breakup. The breakup actually happens quite frequently. The ability to follow through with not seeing the person and actually making them an ex from your past, continuing maybe the story of what it used to be like, but that you are not with them, is the most difficult part. Fourthly, defy cognitive dissonance. I have so many clients who tell me, if I break up, I wasted all this time. And then they're upset with themselves. So they put themselves in a real pickle. How can if I don't break up with this person, I'm going to be angry at myself. But since I've wasted 5 years with this person, if I break up with them now, am I selling them short? What did that 5 years mean? To me, that 5 years meant you experimented, you grew, you tried something, you learned new things about yourself, your partner learned new things about themselves, but you don't have to stay with someone because you've been with them a long time. In fact, if they're not meeting your needs, there's probably a good reason that you basically kept them lingering for that long, but nothing really happened. And it's usually felt on both sides, which is another reason I tell couples, please don't pressure each other into forming a more legal long-term marriage, if you will, if you are not ready, if you're not feeling complete on the other areas that you need growth and connection in. And lastly, you must step up and own your decision. Your decision is not up to the chorus you carry with you many times. What your parents say, what your friends say, what your grandparents say, what society says. The most important person for owning the plan, making the plan, owning the plan, and carrying the plan out is you. And you don't need backup for that. You need your own feelings, your own ability to connect with someone, your own ability to continue loving and working on yourself to make a relationship work. And I'm sorry, but if you don't have that, you don't owe anybody anything. You owe yourself to break up, move forward with your plan, and don't look back.